My life, before it took this unexpected turn, was rooted in the concrete and the explainable. I was a man of logic, a product of rigorous military training and years spent upholding the law. My experiences had instilled in me a deep respect for facts, for evidence, for the tangible. Little did I know that my carefully constructed world of reason would be shaken to its core. From an early age I was drawn to service. I joined the military, dedicating years to upholding the values of my country. After my service I transitioned into law enforcement, continuing to serve and protect. These experiences shaped me, taught me to rely on my instincts, to trust my senses. I was trained to observe, to analyze, and to remain calm under pressure. This background, I believe, is important. It is important because it underscores the profound impact of the experiences that followed. I was not prone to flights of fancy or easily swayed by the unexplainable, yet what I experienced, what I continue to experience, defies rational explanation. It is a truth I have grappled with, a truth I am compelled to share. The first whispers of something unusual, something beyond the realm of the ordinary, began in my childhood. I grew up in a small town, a place where life seemed to move at a slower pace. Yet even then, there were moments that hinted at the strange path my life would take. Vivid dreams, unlike those of other children, haunted my nights. They were filled with strange landscapes and beings I couldn't quite place. I recall one particular incident with striking clarity. I was perhaps 6 or 7 years old, playing in the woods near our home. It was twilight and the shadows were lengthening, creating an eerie ambiance. As I played, I felt a sudden chill, a prickling sensation on the back of my neck. I turned around and there, standing at the edge of the trees, was a figure. It wasn't human, of that I was certain. It was tall and slender with an unnatural gait. Its eyes, large and luminous, seemed to pierce through me. I stood there, frozen in fear, as the figure glided closer. Then, just as quickly as it appeared, it vanished. I ran home, my heart pounding in my chest, the image of the figure seared into my memory. As I grew older, the strange occurrences continued, but it was a recurring dream, a vivid and unsettling dreamscape that began to dominate my nights. The dream always started the same way. I would be in my bed, my room plunged into an unnatural darkness. Then, I would hear a low humming sound, a vibration that seemed to shake me to my core. The sound would grow louder, closer, until I could feel it in my teeth. Suddenly, my room would be bathed in an intense white light. I would try to move, to scream, but I was paralyzed, my body refusing to respond. Then, they would appear, the beings from my childhood nightmares. They were tall and slender with smooth gray skin. Their heads were large and bulbous with enormous black eyes that seemed to devour everything in their gaze. I would feel a sharp, searing pain in my head and then everything would go black. I would wake up the next morning drenched in sweat, my heart racing. The dream was so vivid, so real that it left me feeling shaken and disoriented. For years this dream haunted me, repeating itself with chilling regularity, each time leaving me more terrified and more convinced that something was terribly wrong. The unexplained events weren't confined to my dreams. During my waking hours I began to experience strange premonitions, flashes of insight into future events. At first, they were subtle, fleeting glimpses of things to come, but as time went on, they became more frequent, more detailed, and more unsettling. I would see snippets of conversations, witness events before they occurred, and even have premonitions of accidents and tragedies. In the beginning, I dismissed these experiences as mere coincidence, but the more they happened, the harder they became to ignore. It was as if a veil had been lifted, granting me a glimpse into a realm beyond our normal perception of time and space. Accompanying these premonitions were strange occurrences in our home. Objects would move inexplicably, lights would flicker, and I would often feel a cold presence, a sense of being watched. My wife, at first skeptical, couldn't deny the strange happenings. Drawers would open and slam shut on their own, footsteps echoed in the hallway when no one was there, and disembodied voices whispered my name in the dead of night. It was as if our house had become a conduit for unseen forces, a playground for poltergeists.